the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast, Season 4. Let's go, baby. Yeah. There was a time I had trouble talking about it. Congratulate them, we know they doubted. Somehow we made it up out the pit, back against the wall, never quit. Traversing through each obstacle, show a non-believer what's possible. Let nothing they could do stand in between me and my wildest dreams. Let's go. And that come at us could come in between. Life gave me the worst, yet my side grew so green. We've been down in the dirt, been tossed in the trash, but I never stray from my path. When we're gone, we ain't looking back.
Maybe we were all way too high. Maybe that's our fault.
It's going to be a crazy time, but it's going to be a fun time.
Life is boring if you don't take some chances and do some things outside the box.
Your destination for both some feel-good lifestyle advice and some fantasy football advice. All right. The vibes, they are immaculate today on this Feel Good Friday, October 28th. Thanks for tuning in to the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast. I am Seth Woolcock, joined by my shotgun rider, my brother from another mother, Nate Polvote. Today, we have a very, very special show for you today. We're going to get you locked and loaded for week number 8. Nate, before we give them the rundown of what they can expect today, how are you, my friend? How has your week been?
It's Friday, so I am very excited. It's been a hectic week. We have a hectic weekend ahead of us. Holiday weekend, kind of, with a 5-year-old. I mean, I think we're going to like 5 trick-or-treat streets. So
There we go. All right. Yeah, Halloween, it is in the air, guys. We've been talking about spooky season all year long because that's what this fantasy football season has been, Nate. Injuries are just running rampant right now. Jamar Chase, he's the latest to add to that list. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. We're also going to talk about the Kadarius Toney trade news. We're going to talk about that, do a little Thursday night football recap. We got a pretty decent one last night with Herbie and Al Michael over there on Amazon Prime. We're also going to have start sits here today with Dave Fantasy. He's our guy over here in Between Media. He writes the hard bargain. So excited to hear from Dave. And then old Brian McFadden of Legit Football. They have a great newsletter over there. He's going to be joining us for some Sure Things Sleepers of the Week. Nate, we hit Tyler Boyd last week, man. So I'm feeling like we can do it again here.
I think so. Boyd was a great call. Boyd's going to be, if you went out and got him and you didn't have him rostered with this Jamar Chase injury, I mean, he's now steps into the T. Higgins role. So that's exciting for Tyler Boyd. And I would like to point out, you gave me so much crap for my Jordan Akins pick last week.
Yes, I did.
Now, he didn't hit the double-digit threshold. He was 0.2 of a point away. 9.8 PPR fantasy points. Tight end 15, I believe, on the week. He was ahead of Hawk, man. He was ahead of Kyle Pitts.
Nate, I will give you credit for that call, my friend. Mike Clay, all the other projections out there, they had him for about 2 points, and you were right on that one. Like, honestly, I almost want to give you the win just because you were so close on that. I won't because we are fair to the rules.
Because you're petty, Seth.
And I'm competitive, yes. Guys, welcome into the show. We got Albert in the chat already. Good afternoon, IBT. Good afternoon to you, Albert. If you guys are new to the In Between family, welcome in. We appreciate you guys tuning in today, making us a part of your Friday. We try to deliver feel-good lifestyle advice with our fantasy sports analysis over here at IBT. So if you are new, you want to stick around, please give us a like on this video, and please subscribe to the channel. Help support us continue to grow here. Nate, with all this said, man, I think we should kind of just jump into this because there is not too much time left to get through all this. I mean, one of the craziest weeks when you look at it, we've lost 3 wide receiver ones to injury this week, a running back one, and multiple other position players as well.
Yeah, it's this season, man. Like, I think I wrote in a column earlier in the season a couple of weeks ago, we keep waiting for this season to regress to the mean of normalcy. I've given up. This is just going to be, the rest of the season is going to be crazy. This stuff is going to keep happening. And as fantasy managers and analysts, we're just going to have to keep pivoting and finding these diamonds in the rough. That's why these in the scope candidates are so important right now.
I completely agree with you, Nate. So let's start here at the top of the show with the Jamar Chase news. That was kind of the big bombshell yesterday, and it's going to be a hip injury for him. He's at least going to be out the next month, maybe longer. People were saying this could be a season ender. I saw a lot of conflicted reports, so I don't really want to get into that. I'm going to go on the assumption that he's at least going to be out the next month. He's going to hit IR here. What does this mean for fantasy teams, Nate? Where does T. Higgins rank the rest of the way for you, at least the next month, as well as Tyler Boyd out there, the old pride here of Clareton, Pennsylvania?
Well, I think Tyler Boyd is someone you're going to want to go out and roster if you don't have him already. He's probably gone at this point. After that news dropped yesterday, it seemed like he was flying off of waiver wires. But he's a reliable start for at least the next 4 weeks. You know you can plug him in regardless of situation, and he's going to score points. If you've got T. Higgins, rest of season, he's a wide receiver 1, even when Jamar Chase comes back, I think. Because he fits into this offense so well, they're going to throw the ball, and Mixon has continued to just be wildly inefficient.
Yeah, I agree. They're going to need to run this offense through those two wide receivers. Keep an eye out for your guy as well. You love the tight end Hayden Hurst there too, so he could be a valuable play for you moving forward as well here, Nate. So good to see that. Let's go ahead and move forward to Kadarius Toney. He was dealt yesterday to the Kansas City Chiefs for a conditional third that they got for one of their coaches' hires, and then a 6th-round pick as well. So I think what this means for the Giants is it's wheels up for Wan'Dale Robinson. First and foremost, like he is the Giants wide receiver, I think, to roster the rest of the way. If you need to stream Darius Slayton at times, I think you can. But other than that, I think Robinson is the guy to own there in the Giants passing game, Nate. Daniel Bellinger is going to be sidelined for a little bit as well, it looks like. So looks like it's wheels up on the young rookie out of Kentucky.
Yeah, I think so. Bellinger, I think, is probably done for the year. I mean, fractured eye socket. They didn't say that he is, but I would be shocked to see him come back. I think it is. Too. He did look good, and I've been telling everybody since rookie drafts in dynasty season to go out and get him, and I'm really bummed because he was really fitting into that offense well. Now it's going to be Wan'Dale Robinson. It's going to be Darius Slayton. My question about this trade: Kadarius Toney apparently could have been playing.
That's what I was just about to bring that up as well, Nate, because that's what we're hearing is that there was a deleted tweet out there that he put out yesterday, Toney, saying something that he has been healthy or he could have played, and then he deleted it very quickly. So I don't know if that was fake, the tweet that was dug back up. I can't really, I don't know. I want to put on my journalism cap and I want to give you guys the correct news, but like you said, it does look like he might be in the Chiefs lineup here in a couple weeks here.
Well, and I think we need to pump the brakes on our expectations of what Kadarius Toney is going to be in Kansas City. From a dynasty perspective, I mean, I'm willing to stash him, but I have no hopes of playing him this season. This offense is already established with Juju, MVS, and
Travis
Kelce. Where does he fit? And I know they're like, well, this is Tyreek Hill light, maybe, but also you have to wonder why he hasn't been on the field in New York. 2 seasons in, they were hot on this kid. They drafted him early, and we've heard of the character concerns in college. Are those still a thing at the NFL level? The Giants just didn't talk about because they wanted to try and move him.
Kind of seems like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand the concern. I still think like if you have the roster spot in redraft leagues and you want to roster Kadarius Toney, I'm fine with it through the bye. Let's see where he comes out at. I'm interested to see what his usage is. We've seen MVS a lot in one wide receiver sets. We've seen Juju Smith-Schuster in one wide receiver sets. They haven't, and Mecole Hardman. They haven't really been consistent with that. So it's likely a revolving door here at wide receiver for the Chiefs. But I do think he has some name value, and I think that's the one thing to keep in mind. If Kadarius Toney goes out there first or second week with the Chiefs and he does light it up, there's going to be some people around your league who want him. So I don't mind holding on to the value play, but it's kind of like you said, I don't really want to start him. I don't really want to start any of these Chiefs wide receivers anymore. I mean, with Juju and MVS, like it's pretty much playing a little bit of Russian roulette, whether you're going to get a good game or get a donut.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the problem. And I don't think Kadarius Toney changes that. I don't think he swings the needle one way or the other.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Nate. let's go ahead and move forward here to the Thursday Night Football recap. We'll jump through this quickly, and then we'll get to some start-sit questions. So if anyone out there does have any start-sit questions, any trade questions, we're going to have our guy Dave Fantasy in here in just a couple of minutes. And Nate, we won't spend a lot of time on the Thursday Night Football recap, but it was 27-22 in the Ravens' directions over the Buccaneers. The Ravens dominated the time possession, though. They ran the ball, and they ran the ball some more. 231 rushing yards as a club and just 44 for Tampa Bay. They couldn't stay on the field. It was a fine night for Brady, the wide receivers and company. Like they looked okay. Chris Godwin looked really sprung at times. That was really cool to see. Double-digit points for him, double-digit points for Mike Evans. Brady didn't let you down this week either. Leonard Fournette came through with a touchdown, kind of a mediocre game outside of that, though. But the big storyline here, Nate, is somehow the Ravens got the win, and they did it without some of their best players on the field. Mark Andrews leaves quarter 2 with a shoulder injury. It's supposed to be a minor injury, but he still could miss 1 to 2 weeks, Nate. Isaiah Likely stepped in 6 for 77 and 1. Is Likely an auto start for you if Andrews is out these next couple weeks?
Yeah. He saw volume with Andrews out. We already knew he was a talented receiver that Lamar Jackson trusted when he was in. If he's going to see a significant uptick in snap share and target share, yeah, you have to start him.
And it was interesting, too, because we actually saw his snap share go down a little bit the last couple weeks coming into last night's game, and then he kind of popped off. So Isaiah Likely, 6 for 77 and 1. It's nothing to roll your eyes about. I think if Mark Andrews out there, he's not rosterable. He shouldn't be on your rosters. But if you are the Mark Andrews manager specifically, I'm going out and I'm getting Isaiah Likely. I'm not spending a lot for him, but Likely's an interesting play there. Another interesting play, Nate, someone we've kind of been on all season long, or at least you have, has been Kenyon Drake. It's been an up and down roller coaster for Kenyon Drake. You don't really know when to play him. Last night was one that you could have actually played him in. He goes 7 for 62 plus 4 receptions and a tutty. And he looked good at times, man. And Gus Edwards, he suffers a non-serious hamstring injury in the fourth quarter. So it looks like Kenyon Drake could be the guy for a little bit. Gus might still be able to play next week is what we're hearing as of now. However, this Baltimore backfield, Nate, it is a revolving door as well. No one can stay healthy. Is Kenyon Drake a guy here for the next couple of weeks, you think? Or are you expecting Gus Edwards to be back and, full workload for him?
Well, I think they're going to take it easy with Edwards because they can. He's just back off of IR. So you don't want to put him in a situation where he has a lingering hamstring injury now. I think Drake is probably a good play for the next 2 weeks. But if Edwards is healthy and playing, I don't think you can start either one because it's like the Chiefs wide receiver situation. You don't know which one is going to have the day because we all thought that it was going to be Gus Edwards last night. I thought it was going to be Gus Edwards last night for sure. When we saw Drake's snaps cut in half, that's concerning. But then it flipped. So
yeah, it's tough to tell right now with this Ravens backfield. I think you want the starter and probably realistically, if Gus is going to be out there, I think you can play Kenyon Drake as a desperation running back play if you need it.
Sure.
If he's not there, he's a high-end RB3. There's nothing to really get excited about with this Ravens backfield with the revolving door. Justice Hill still shouldn't be on rosters, in my opinion. I think he's nothing more than a change of pace back there. Let's talk about
that to Linda.
Yeah. Devin Duvernay here, Nate, as well. He has a good game, comes back. He ran a touchdown in 16.4 PPR points for Devin Duvernay on the day. Rashad Bateman left this one early in the third. He aggravated that foot injury. I've been saying it almost all year, Nate, and I'm going to continue to stand by this, whether Bateman is healthy or not. I think Devin Duvernay is the Ravens receiver roster. He's not someone you're starting every single week. This was a good matchup for him last night with so many secondary members injured for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But, man, I think they need to get the ball in this kid's hands. Every time they let him run it, he's very efficient with it. He's kind of like a Curtis Samuel in a way and what he's doing out there for me. He's in motion on so many plays. I love what I'm seeing from Devin Duvernay, even though it's not necessarily consistent, Nate.
Yeah, and you made a very good point. He is a great play situationally. He's not an every week start, but he is the best receiver on this team. Bateman's just hasn't been reliable. The talent's there when he's healthy, but he keeps aggravating this foot injury. Then he's not on the field. Does he miss next week? And if he doesn't, is he 100%? Duvernay, if you're going to play a receiver, in this offense, it should be Duvernay.
I agree. He's still out there in a lot of leagues too. So if you do need a play in the coming weeks, pick him up. If you're the Rashad Bateman manager, I think you definitely need to have Duvernay on your roster. You need to get out of the Ravens as a whole. Neat. Let's go ahead though. Let's move forward to matchup management. We got Chris back in the chat. What's up, Chris? Good to see you today. Thanks for making us part of your Friday. Go ahead and drop any start sit questions you guys have for us, trade advice, anything you guys need help with, and we'll get that right on the other end of this awesome drop.
Who you got?
Matchup management.
Who's it gonna be?
Who's it going to be? We're going to tell you right here in matchup management. And to do that, we're bringing a very special friend of the show, a member of our staff and a member of our In-Between Media family. He's the author of the none other than the Hard Bargain column. And if you guys are ever in an Uber, this man is one of the funniest people to be in an Uber with. I was riding in an Uber with him over the summer. He had our Uber driver howling. So for none other than, let's go ahead and bring him in without further ado, Dave Fantasy. What's up, Dave?
What's going on, man? How are you, Seth? Nate?
I'm good, man.
What's
I'm
up,
good.
buddy?
How are you? Are you haggling any Uber drivers as of late?
I haven't been in an Uber probably since then, actually. And to be honest with you, I don't remember the Uber ride as much as you do.
That was your boy. I think his name was Raul. He was a very nice man. You were telling him a lot about how I think your dad's friend is in a band or friends with, I don't know. It was a great conversation. I have it recorded if you ever want to watch back because it was hilarious. It was a little promo here. So we have that on camera there for you, Dave.
Outstanding.
Dave, how are the vibes feeling today? Week 8, it's been a doozy already, man. Jamar Chase going down, so many injuries in week 7, and we're just trying to kind of pick up the pieces. How are your Friday vibes doing despite it all?
Pretty good, actually. I mean, in spite of all of that. Yeah, I was actually talking to Nate on the phone yesterday, and like right after I got off the phone, I looked, I see the Jamar Chase news. I'm just like, what the heck? Like, I was pretty shook, but
yeah,
that's,
What's
been happening all year. We've had so many key players lost to injury. It's been tough to take.
I agree. Well, we're going to help people out today. We're going to tell them who they need to be starting and sitting. We already have some questions coming in through the chat. Let's start here with Albert. Raheem Mostert or Ramondre Stevenson, full PPR. Man, I don't think this is a no-brainer for me despite the matchup. I'm going Ramondre Stevenson. He has been brilliant. 8 receptions on 8 targets last week. I didn't realize he was such a good pass catcher coming in the league. Nate, you kind of highlighted early in Ramondre Stevens' career what a dual threat this guy can be. He looks like Derrick Henry at the times, but like he has the pass catching ability of Dalvin Cook. I'm amazed what I'm seeing. I can't bench him despite Damian Harris being back.
Yeah, and that's what is so great because I was really afraid that he was going to get relegated to, I don't know, like 5 to 10 touches a game with Harris back. But now he's getting into the passing game. And I think that's something people didn't realize, that he was pretty good at the pass catching role at Oklahoma. As much as I despise the Sooners, he was very, very good at Oklahoma, on a very good Oklahoma team. He fits what this offense wants to do. He's someone that can help out Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi, depending on who the starter is. I think you have to start him. The Mostert matchup is really good, though, against Detroit as well.
The matchup, if you want to go sky high for ceiling, I mean, I get it with Mostert. I just don't think I get 19 total touches for Ramondre last week to Damian Harris's 5. I do expect that to maybe even out a little bit, but the Jets' run defense doesn't necessarily scare me. If you want to hit a home run, maybe you go Mostert, but I still think Ramondre, how can you sit him in full PPR?
I mean, the Jets' run defense, to be fair, is like kind of middle of the road. They rank 21st in fantasy points allowed, but I still think he's turning into those guys that match up kind of. It's like Derrick Henry. You're not going to bench Derrick Henry because you're facing even the like top 1 or 2 run defenses. You're still going to play him.
Dave, how do you feel about this question from Albert?
I don't know. I'm really kind of on your side with Ramondre. I've been a big Ramondre guy for a while, and his involvement in the passing game is killer, so we're talking about full PPR. That's obviously going to be huge. But the whole time you've been talking, I've been trying to think about how to make the case for Mostert, and it's kind of easy in a way because he is going up against that disaster of a Detroit Lions team. I mean, they can't stop anybody running the football. They've given up 10 touchdowns on the season, which is tied for the most with Cleveland. And I think that, Mostert's a big play waiting to happen. So I think what you were saying mostly, if you're swinging for the fences, Mostert's the right guy. I think that's 100% right. I can totally see him having one of those 50-plus touchdown runs that he's very capable of pulling off against this Lions defense.
Okay. So I think kind of the consensus here is for you, Albert, if you maybe played someone last night, Mark Andrews or someone else who maybe Rashad Bateman who put you in a hole and you need to swing for the fences, go Mostert because it is such a sexy matchup against the Detroit Lions. However, Ramondre Stevenson, he is so solid. So I'd look to get both in your lineup. If you can only pick one, the safety is with Ramondre. The pure upside might be with Raheem, though, this week. So love the question, Albert. We appreciate you as always, our good friend here. Let's move forward to this other question here from Chris. I'm looking to trade either Aaron Jones or Waddle. Aaron Jones for a wide receiver and RB, or Waddle for a wide receiver. Maybe package Waddle and DJ Moore for a stud, ? Any ideas, ? 0.5 PPR, by the way. We appreciate all the information there, Chris. I don't mind you trying to trade Aaron Jones. Nate, he was either your or Jen's sell high candidate earlier this week here. And I think you can absolutely package him with maybe a DJ Moore or something and go get yourself one of these stud running backs, whether that's Josh Jacobs, or maybe not Josh Jacobs, but Kenneth Walker, Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook, someone kind of in that elite tier. How do you feel about that, Nate? Or would you be looking to maybe move Waddle and DJ Moore for a stud wide receiver?
You would have to pry Jalen Waddle from my cold, dead hands to get me to trade him right now. He's too good. You're not gonna get enough return moving him and DJ Moore, I don't think, if you've got those two. Because I think he's on the upswing here. However, Aaron Jones, get what you can for Aaron Jones right now. And you should be able to get a decent amount because he's popped off. If you're looking to trade him before this weekend, great. But if you can wait until after this week goes through and he has another decent game, move him then. You'll get more for him if you can wait.
Okay. Dave, how do you feel about this? It's looking like he wants a wide receiver, Chris, out of this package. So maybe he's looking to get up into that Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown type of tier. How do you feel this shaking out here for Chris?
Well, I think, if you're giving up Waddle and DJ Moore, I'm with Nate. I would not want to trade Waddle under any set of circumstances. But I think DJ Moore's got a lot of upside now, especially with Christian McCaffrey gone. I think that, he's just going to have to be involved in the offense anymore,
Certainly.
A little more because they're short playmakers over there. You'd have to get an absolute stud. He does put, should I trade these for a stud? But I mean, I can't think of a wide receiver that I'd want to trade both those wide receivers for. If we're talking, it's a half PPR league. Yeah, Devontae Adams could be the guy, but
I don't think the Devontae Adams manager is going to give him up for Waddle and DJ Moore, though.
Would you be interested in upgrading to Amon-Ra St. Brown? When St. Brown has been healthy, I highlighted earlier this week, he's averaging over 17 PPR points in games he finishes. He's been explosive. Dave, are you willing to upgrade to that, or is that just not enough for you?
It's too risky for me. I haven't been able to, I have Amon-Ra in a few leagues, and I'm feeling uncomfortable about it, so I wouldn't want to give up that much to get Amon-Ra back.
Would you move Aaron Jones at all? Would you be interested in moving Aaron Jones and a wide receiver to get a better wide receiver?
Yeah, I could do it. I could definitely do it. Aaron Jones does have some value now, especially with the big games that he's had this season. He's kind of one of those peaks and valleys sort of running back most of the time anyway. So yeah, I could definitely get behind that. But you would want to get a pretty, secure, like a wide receiver one with a floor,
Yes, I absolutely agree. We appreciate the question there. Chris said he thinks he's going to hold off to see DJ Moore's performance. Same with Aaron Jones. Not a bad idea there, Chris. We appreciate the question, as always, our friend. Here we have a question here from Bob Jimmy. What's up, Bob Jimmy? Appreciate you making us part of your Friday afternoon. Good to see some new faces in the chat. Should I start Hayden Hurst or Dalton Schultz this week in a full PPR league? I had Andrews and Evans on my team already played. Wow. Okay. So I wonder if you're ripping one of these guys out as a flex or you double tight end league, something like that, maybe. How do you guys feel about this question here from Bob Jimmy? Obviously, not a great night with Mark Andrews going down after just a couple of receptions, but at least Mike Evans came through for him last night. Dave, how are you feeling about this one?
Well, yeah, he's got Mike Evans already in the bank, so that's a good start there. But I'm liking what I see out of Hayden Hurst. I would feel pretty comfortable going with him, even though, Schultz is also a good option with Dak back. I just think Hayden Hurst has been a nice part of that Bengals offense as is. And now we're talking about Jamar Chase being gone. They're going to probably give him at least another couple of targets. And Cleveland isn't necessarily super weak against the tight end, but they don't, they're not scary against the tight end. So I feel like, he's got a fairly decent matchup here.
No Jamar Chase as well. So I think you can give him a little bit of a boost. And the one thing I think I'll say about Schultz here, Nate, and maybe you can back me up on this, I like him with Dak back, but this week I don't like playing people against the Bears because the time in this game goes so quickly because the Bears' slow, snail-like pace of play. So I'm with Dave here. I think I'm actually going Hayden Hurst, which I love Dalton Schultz, so that's really sad to see that.
Well, like Dave alluded to, it's a better matchup for the most part because of the Jamar Chase injury. Both of these defenses are actually in the top 10 against tight ends so far this season. But Hayden Hurst is taking on more of like a wide receiver 3 role unless they give it to Mike Thomas, which I can't see that happening. Mm-hmm. Hurst is just simply going to have more opportunity, and you've got to start him over Schultz this week.
Okay, yeah, roll into Monday Night Football, guys. Hold your breath there. Let's see what happens there. Appreciate the question, Bob Jimmy. He's telling us it is a super flex league. He has tight end positions to start and 2 flex options. Makes sense there. We appreciate you, Jimmy. We hope you subscribe to the channel, come back and hang out with us some more. Let's move forward to another question here from our guy, Ollie Bossgod. What's up, Ollie? We hope you're having a great feel-good Friday. Appreciate you making time for us today. Start 3. Alvin Kamara, JT, Walker, or ETN. Holy goodness. I wish my rosters looked like this. This is great. I think any way you look at it. Dave, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
You have one lean one way or the other here. 4 absolute studs in the backfield.
Yeah, this is juicy. I mean, and it's weird to say, but I think I'm probably sitting JT out of this group right now because, with J-Rob leaving Jacksonville, Etienne is going to see a large uptick in his involvement. There's no way you can sit Kenneth Walker right now. He looks like one of the best running backs currently playing. And Kamara, I guess I'd like to know if this is a PPR league or not, but Kamara's had 6 or more pass catches in each of his last 3 games. So I wouldn't want to get him out, especially if it's a PPR league. JT'd be the guy I'd probably bench.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. JT hasn't been great. At this point, we're all riding what happened last year. And Indy's kind of a mess. I would more than comfortably sit JT here.
Wow. I didn't think I would come to this discussion ever having to say that I would sit Jonathan Taylor. But with these options, you're right. Like, I do like the matchup better against the Giants for Kenneth Walker. ETN's playing in London. They're going to need him with no J-Rob out there. And then Kamara, like you said, Dave, he is a PPR threat here against the Raiders, so I'm not scared of that defense at all. And with Sam Ehlinger back there, I don't know what Jonathan Taylor's going to get. He only did good last week because he got so many dump-offs from freaking Matt Ryan, and we might not see that. So, yeah, I think it's consensus here, Ollie. I think you can bench Jonathan Taylor, which is hard to say, but times are crazy right now in fantasy, man. We appreciate the question, though, nonetheless. Hope you subscribe to the channel and come back and hang out with us. Here we have another question here from Ollie. Same dude, different question. Should I start Schultz or Taysom Hill? And this one depends what you need too, because I think Taysom Hill is a little bit of a sexy matchup against the Raiders here, who their secondary can't stop anything. They're Swiss cheese. How do you feel about this one, Dave? This one's super intriguing. Schultz obviously has the better floor here.
Yeah, I think for sure Schultz has the safer floor. I don't know if it's a personal vendetta I've got against Taysom Hill or something, but I am sort of on the never start Taysom Hill uh, team, I
He
guess.
came through last week. He got the tutty, though.
He did, and he does sometimes, I mean, that's the thing. He's absolutely a feast or famine kind of guy, because it's a disaster. I mean, technically, he's the third tight end on this team. I know that they don't really deploy him as a typical tight end, but there's no way I can feel comfortable with him in there. But then, he's going to get a 65-yard rushing touchdown, and I'm going to look foolish for saying this, but actually, I mean, this is a tough one because Schultz's matchup against the Bears is difficult.
Yeah,
he's going to have to handle Roquan Smith. Deal with Roquan Smith.
That's a very good point there. I think this comes down to Ollie, how ballsy do you feel? Putting Taysom Hill out there is like whipping your nutsack on the table. Sometimes you got to do it. Sometimes you got to flex it. But how good do you feel waking up on Sunday? I think that's really the answer here because there's really no analysis on Taysom Hill, guys. He's going to get some play. Some might be in the receiving game. Some might be in the passing game. And we're going to see him rush the ball a little bit too. So kind of all over the place for Taysom Hill. But how good do you feel, Ali? I think that's the answer of your question there. A couple more here before we move forward in the show, guys. Looks like George, he started the week with A.J. Brown, Mike Evans, and T. Higgins playing. Solid night for Mike Evans. Do you bench Brown or Higgins for Dameon Pierce? Wow, so this is another really good team from George. He's got I wish I had these options, guys. Dave, what's your initial read here on this question from George?
Well, I think there's no way I'm benching Higgins right now after we know that Chase went down. He's going to be called on to be the de facto number one over there now. I don't want to sit AJ Brown either. I don't think I'm doing it. I don't think there's any way I can do this.
Nate? Are you willing to bench A.J. Brown this week? A.J. Brown's been fantastic pretty much all season long. There have been some dips, but what do you have here for George?
Pittsburgh has been a little bit better of a secondary these last few weeks.
Somehow.
But I still don't think I can bench A.J. Brown because this Philly team's just too good.
Okay.
I think I love Dameon Pierce. But I think Brown just has more upside. Plain and simple.
Yeah, we still don't really know the floor for Dameon Pierce. He's been excellent, but great team all around there, George. He's asking, should he start the Jags defense or the Jets defense? Right now, it looks like, they're both great plays. I don't trust the Broncos defense or offense as far as I can throw them, so I don't mind starting the Jags. They are traveling to London a little bit, so they could be a little weary. And then you also have the Jets against the Patriots. Just quarterback carousel we're dealing with over there, Nate. So do you have a good read on this for George?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm doing this in every redraft league that I have a defense in. I am rostering whoever is playing the Broncos every single week as a team defense. Last week it was the Jets. It paid off. This week it's going to be the Jaguars. And I think even though it's in London, it's going to pay off because I don't believe the Broncos and Nathaniel Hackett are ready for this game.
Okay. Dave, and any read on these defensive plays here?
Yeah, I'm right on the same page as Nate here. I think Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen are going to make Russell Wilson wish he didn't start this game.
Yep.
And so I think you're going to see a lot of pass rush, a lot of pressures. It's going to lead to some sacks, probably some interceptions. I'm very comfortable with the Jags defense here.
Yeah, Denver's offensive line is just. They lost Garrett Bowles for the season. They're patchwork at this point. They can't stop a pass rush.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm all right with that analysis there, guys. Dave, we're going to go ahead and move forward here in the show. We appreciate your
we missed the second half of his question.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I appreciate you pointing that out, Nate. Stream Dolich or Gesicki this week. Nate, you have a little bit more analysis on Gesicki, so yep. I'm definitely full send Gesicki. It's a great matchup for him against the Lions. Getting better target share as well for the guy out of Penn State there. So I'm Gesicki on that one. I like Dolchik. I like what he's doing, but I don't think I can trust him here.
Yep, same.
Yeah, I agree. I want to avoid Denver offensive players if I can.
Certainly. Well, Dave, we appreciate you joining us today. Guys, keep bringing the questions in. We'll get to some more of them with our next guest here in the show. Dave, tell us where we can find you, how we can best support you throughout the remainder of the season, my friend.
Well, in addition to, my work here at In Between Media, I'm also writing at 4for4 Football. I do a weekly Sunday recap. It is one of the free articles, so you can always read that every Monday morning. And then, just follow me on Twitter at Dave Fantasy. I put links to everything that I'm writing and at In Between Media and elsewhere. So, that's the best way to know what I'm doing and follow my content.
Fantastic. Well, Dave, we appreciate you very much, our friend. Don't haggle any Uber drivers this weekend, our friend, and take care. We appreciate you. Nate, let's go ahead and jump into some Sure Thing Sleepers of the Week.
It's the Sure Thing Sleepers of the Week.
All right, Sure Thing Sleepers of the Week, everyone. Welcome into our next segment. And to do this, we're going to bring in a very special guest, a man that I first met over a couple brews out there in the great city of Las Vegas, Nevada for the NFL Draft. He is the co-owner of Legit Football. Guys, please help us welcome in for the very first time on the In Between Fantasy Football podcast, Brian McFadden. What's up, Brian?
What's up, Seth? Nate, thanks for having me. I got to say, that song for the Sure Thing, that really sets the vibe on a Friday going into the weekend. I'm from California, so this is just hitting my spot. Nate, I got a chance to meet you at the Fantasy Football Expo. I don't know if you remember that. So super excited to be on the show. I could talk football, and especially fantasy football, 7 days a week, 365. So anytime I get to do it on camera in front of other people, that's just a bonus to me.
Well, we appreciate Brian. It's good to see you. How's things been over your way? Legit Football this year. How's the season been treating you guys?
It's been going great. We've seen our far and away our biggest growth actually in the preseason. People love NFL news, so we saw our biggest subscriber jump from June to like August, where I think it's like 4,000%. We're now sending the email to nearly 10,000 people, and 5,000 to 6,000 of them read it every single day. Legitfootball.com, guys. If you guys want a free NFL news, it's not specifically fantasy. It's just what you need to know for the NFL news. Check it out, and you can always follow me on Twitter as well.
Awesome. I am subscribed to Legit, so I will say that I get in my inbox every day. I check it out. It's quick. It's good hitting information. So we appreciate you and your staff putting that out over there, Brian. Vibes are good over here with us as well, our friend. We're trying to make through this week 8 that it's really been a crazy one in the NFL these last couple of days, Brian.
It's been a crazy season. Let's look at it. I was just we had my show, which aired like 30 minutes ago, and we're talking about just how crazy it's been when the Panthers and the Falcons are playing for sole possession of first place in the NFC South, when Tom Brady has now lost 3 in a row and he's at 3-5, and Aaron Rodgers is a team that's nearly 10.5 point underdogs on the road in Buffalo. It makes it exciting. On the fantasy side, it's been even more unpredictable than ever. Tight end and running back are just like dart throws, except for like a handful. And the NFL is it's full of parity. That's what we want, though. That's what makes it more exciting. If it's all so predictable, it would not be as fun to watch. So I'm here for it, even as crazy as it's been.
Excellent. Well, we're glad to hear that. Brian, do you have a couple minutes? We got a couple questions here in the chat still we got to roll through.
Sure.
And then we'll jump into the Sure Thing Sleepers of the Week.
Absolutely. Just FYI, my show every Thursday for an hour, we do viewer live questions, and 98% of them are fantasy. So I'm still in that mode. I'll take as many questions as come our way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we got a thick one here. A little book from Bob Jimmy. He's asking us, he already had Andrews and Evans play. He has Deontay Johnson and Devin Singletary bench right now. He's got a lot of good options in his lineup, including Raheem Mostert, DJ Moore, Najee Harris, Brandon Cooks, Devonta Smith, Jacoby Myers, Aaron Jones. So he's got a pretty decent lineup here. How do we feel about this one, Brian? Would you elevate either Deontay Johnson or Devin Singletary? There's a couple risky plays in there, including DJ Moore, but overall it's a pretty nice lineup. Would you move any of these other players into the lineup, Brian?
At first look, my instinct, I'm not high on DJ Moore, and it's not a talent level. I know that he finally scored last week, but it's still PJ Walker. I think that's very much a reflection of Tampa Bay as a whole. We've seen now in repeated weeks that the offense and the defense in Tampa Bay, there's just something off. So I'm not high on DJ Moore. I'm not high on that Panthers offense in general. And Mostert has actually been shown that he's the clear lead back right now in Miami. They're going up against, I know they played better last week, but a Lions defense that has been very susceptible across the board. I personally think the Dolphins-Lions game is going to be the highest scoring game on the slate. The Dolphins defense has been a little underwhelming, and I'm a Dolphins fan, so I watch them closer than anyone else. I'm not sitting here saying Mostert is a slam dunk play. I think that's definitely the passing game with Hill and Waddle. But because I'm not crazy on DJ Moore, if this is a flex, if I'm able to put Mostert in, I might lean to do Mostert over Moore. I'm also not crazy about Najee Harris in general, and this is a Steelers team. Nate, I heard you talking about this game with the Eagles. They're going to be playing from behind, and Harris has just been not nearly as efficient. They're getting Jalen Warren a lot more involved, so I could put Mostert in there as well. And here's Brandon Cooks. Nico Collins is missing. It looks like Cooks is going to be, but with all the trade rumors, do they get him involved? I have one of my sleepers that I'm going to mention is in this Texans realm, so I like that. But Devontae Smith, Jacoby Myers has a great matchup. I don't think that Sauce Gardner is going to line up. Myers is in the slot a lot. Aaron Jones, you're not sitting. But yeah, I might put Mostert in instead of Harris or Moore, personally.
Okay. We'll go ahead and move forward here to our next question here. We have a trade question from Lincoln. What's up, Lincoln? We appreciate you making us part of your Friday. A guy is offering me JJ, Justin Jefferson, and Ertz for Andrews and CMC. It's a 1.5 tight end premium and dynasty, and he still owns Kelsey and Greg Dulcich as well. So what should he be doing here? Looks like he still has good RBs, Joe Mixon, Kamara, Zeke. So he's not hurting for running back. I'm just going to start out by saying I'm willing to do almost anything to get my hands on Justin Jefferson in a dynasty league. I don't care if I have to sell off anyone. I don't care if I have to sell off my future kids, my brother and sister. I'll do it. I'll do whatever I need to do. You're giving up a lot with Andrews and CMC. I think I would prefer maybe someone else back of Ertz that maybe has some more long-term value. Nate, how do you feel about this one? Justin Jefferson and Ertz for Andrews and CMC. Obviously, CMC and Andrews, they're studs, but how long is the clock ticking for those guys?
For Ertz, I'd want a better tight end back because you've got Kelsey, but he's getting older. Dulcich is the young stud, but we don't know what this Denver offense is or is going to be because we don't know who the head coach is going to be in 2 weeks even. I have a hard time giving up Andrews for Ertz. That's where I'm stuck. I'm okay with Justin Jefferson for CMC and Andrews, but you need a better tight end in this deal.
Or a different positional player.
Different positional player or a draft pick.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely okay with that. Lincoln's kind of saying here, would you guys take it? I feel like I'm giving away two studs, only getting one back. And there is some truth behind that. Brian, how do you feel about this dynasty question here from Lincoln?
It'd be easier if it was a redraft question. I'm like, yeah, see, that'll take you to a championship. Having the CC and possible Andrews side and Justin Jefferson. Dynasty makes it a little bit trickier. I don't view Ertz. I'm with Nate. He's not really a factor to me in this trade. I think McBride is the future tight end there in Arizona. So, and Ertz just hasn't produced even this season. Tight end premium, though. I have Andrews in a dynasty league that's tight end premium, and he took me to the championship game last year. That extra half a point, I don't know if it's full PPR or half PPR for the wide receivers and running backs, but that can be such a difference. And I know we haven't seen it the last 2 weeks, but Andrews is a game changer, especially in dynasty. I think he's still only 25. You could have him in a landscape that's very barren for tight ends. Dulcich, yeah, he's fun so far, but there's no guarantee he's going to be anywhere close to Andrews. Whereas as good as Justin Jefferson is, there's other good wide receivers that are at least close enough in the realm. I think the tight end premium is leaning me towards keeping. And I still think I really want to see CMC in this 49ers offense. Last week wasn't a good comparison. He was there for 2 days before they played.
Right.
He may not have 5 or 6 years there, but in Dynasty, give me 2 or 3 years with Christian McCaffrey in the Shanahan offense. Keep Mark Andrews in a tight end premium league. I'm kind of leaning towards keeping Andrews and CMC in that scenario.
Okay. So we're kind of on the consensus here. We'd like to get a little bit more back for giving up 2 studs. Yeah. Love the question, Lincoln. We appreciate you tuning in today, man. Here we kind of just have a comment here from Dylan that I'd like to touch on. He said he just traded away Scary Terry for ETN. Thinks he won the trade. It's a 14-person league. well done, Dylan. Because I
Yeah.
think this is a slam dunk. Anytime
question.
you can get out of a Washington player for what could be a low-end RB1 the rest of the way, we love this trade. Great work over there, Dylan. We appreciate you tuning in today as well. Here we have Ollie back in the chat. He's asking, should he trade Kamara for Mahomes right now? He's got Geno Smith at quarterback, and it doesn't look like he has a lot behind Alvin Kamara. He's got Kenneth Walker, but maybe not a lot of great running back depth there. I don't think I can swing it. I don't think I can give up Kamara strictly for Mahomes. I'd like another running back in return as well. Brian, how do you feel about this one? Quarterback, it's been so volatile this year, but he does have Geno Smith, who's been a saving grace for many fantasy teams.
I would want a little more context. Is it super flex? Is it 6 point for touchdown? I want to know how valuable the quarterback position is in your league. If it's standard, 1 quarterback, 4 points per passing touchdown, as thin as running back is, I'm not high on Kamara in general, but because the running back position is just so thin right now, you got Geno Smith, I'd probably keep Kamara, but if there's a little bit more, if that quarterback, I'm in a league that it's my oldest league, and the quarterback position is just heavily weighted. There's bonuses for 300 yards, 400 yards, bonuses for 40-yard touchdown passes. You need a stud quarterback. I've got Josh Allen, and he's the only person on my team that's untradeable in that league. So standard PPR, I think I would lean to keep Kamara there. Geno is good enough and has been good enough in that Shane Waldron Seahawks offense to carry you for the rest of the season.
Okay. It does look like he has JT to replace him, but as we said, Geno Smith, he's reliable. I'd like to get a little more back. I'd like to get a little more back from Kamara, depending on the landscape. So let's go ahead and move forward here from another question here. We got Z Smitty back in the chat. What's up, Z Smitty? Appreciate you making us part of your Feel Good Friday. He said, I'm 3-4, so I'm in a must-win position. It's not must-win yet, but you definitely would feel better if you got the win, Z Smitty. He has Mixon, Stevenson, Connor, Patterson, Chase, Godwin, Hopkins, Pickens, Toney, and Robinson. Should I trade Mixon and Chase for McCaffrey right now? Oh, man, that's tough. I don't think I can do that, especially if you're trying to win this league. Like, I know you want to win this week, but Chase should be back at some point. He's going to help you win the league. I don't know if I can just give away my number 1 wide receiver when I'm dealing with Chris Godwin, who has a little bit of an injury history, DeAndre Hopkins. We're still not sure we're going to get back from him, and a bunch of other question marks. Nate, how do you feel about this one?
So I'm all for moving off of Mixon. If you can get McCaffrey, maybe try a package of, let's say, Connor, Mixon, toss in George Pickens, because you've got Godwin, Hopkins, and Robinson. See if they'll bite there.
Yeah,
I would throw Godwin in first, personally. I think Pickens' best days are ahead of him. He's another
That's a fair point.
Another foreshadowing for when we talk about sleepers. Godwin, I think if this is actually, even if it's dynasty, because I think Godwin ACL tear, he's going to be a lot better next year than he is this year. He's good, but that Bucs offense is broken, and he's not quite as explosive as he's been in the past, but he's still got that name, right? And he did fairly well last night. If you happen to watch the Thursday night game, maybe the person he looked better, so maybe you can capitalize on that. I would start with Godwin but yeah, I'm with you. Chase is a league winner. Hold on to him. If you can get, I think Hopkins, he's so hyper targeted when he's in that Arizona offense. So the floor there is nice. We saw it already last week at Thursday Night Football. So if you can get Chase and Hopkins and Pickens really coming into his prime at the end of the season, that could be the type of team that wins you a championship.
I love that analysis there. He also says he could trade away Olave for Montgomery. And I am trying to sell high a little bit on Chris Olave just because I think we're at its peak. Like, I love Chris Olave. He's probably going to finish the year with 1,200 yards and a boatload of TDs. But I'm worried about the revolving door at quarterback. I don't think this is Andy Dalton's team the rest of the year. I'm just not sure with what's going on there in New Orleans. However, I don't know if I want Montgomery at this point either. Like, I'm not doing that trade for Montgomery because Khalil Herbert is there. Nate, you've been in love with Khalil Herbert as much as anyone. Can you make this trade here for Olave Montgomery straight up?
Nope, definitely not. I don't trust Montgomery. I just don't.
Yeah, I totally get that. Guys, keep the questions coming. We'll answer some more here in a little bit, but we do have some sure things, sleepers of the week to get to. So, Nate, why don't you go ahead and kick us off? And I will say, I'll wear a little bit of egg on my face. Nate, last week you came in with a deep, deep sleeper, and you absolutely crushed it. I was bashing you before the show, during the show, and after the show for your call on Jordan Akins. He didn't hit our criteria. He didn't hit double-digit PPR points, but he was oh so close. So what do you have this week for us, my friend?
So Seth was harassing me 24 hours before the show about my sleeper pick last week. I'm going back to the tight end because we all know this is the toughest position to find a starter and consistently unless you have Travis Kelce or Mark Andrews. And now it's not even Mark Andrews, guys. We don't know when he's going to be back. We don't know how serious this injury is. Mike Gesicki has been hyper-targeted the last 2 weeks. He's had more targets the last 2 weeks than he had the first 5 weeks of the season. He had 12 the first 5 weeks. He's had 14 the last 2. He had that really great game in week 6, but we were wondering when Tua comes back, is he going to continue to see that volume? He did last week. He only turned it into 3 catches, but they're also playing one of the better defenses against the tight end position. That's not the case this week. Miami is going up against, we just talked about it, Detroit. They are the worst team, the third worst team in the league against tight ends. This is a team that is passing at the 5th most in the league. Gesicki figures to be a part of this game. I like him for at least a touchdown. Probably he'll see 7-8 targets again. I could see 3 to 4 catches, 30-40 yards. That's a nice PPR day for a tight end that you're not getting from a lot of other positions. The ceiling at tight end, or the threshold for a tight end 1 is like 9.8, 9.9 points per game right now. So he was disappointing the first 5 weeks, but it looks like they're getting him more involved in this offense. He's also being asked to block a little bit less the last couple of weeks. So I think this is a week he's involved. Like you said, Brian, this might be the highest scoring game of the week. I think Gesicki plays a factor in this Miami offense.
Okay. I like that call, Nate. I was actually kind of on Mike Gesicki a little bit earlier this week as well. I think it's going to be, like Brian said, maybe one of the highest scoring games on the slate here. He's still available in just over 30% of ESPN leagues right now. So if you're in a shallower league and you need a tight end, think about Mike Gesicki. I like that call, Nate. Brian, what do you have for us? And I'm not going to put any pressure on you, our friend, but we've had, I think, 8 or 9 different guests this year on this segment. They have yet to hit this criteria one time. They've yet to get it right. We've had Bob Harris on the show. We've had Pat Fitzmaurice on the show. Mike Story, like a lot of great people. Last week, Andrew Erickson from the Fantasy Pros podcast, he came on, gave us Michael Gallup, hit a donut on him when he was confident. So not to put pressure on you, but can you get it right here, Brian, for the guests of the show?
I brought 3 different ones. I know I can't throw all 3. I will pick one. I'd like to mention the other 2, but we can say the one is the one I'm going with. We mentioned earlier, I said that I would have something on George Pickens. That's the one I'm going to pick. So if you're looking at sleeper stats, he's 76% owned, but only 32% start. I think part of that is due to the matchup. They're going up against the Eagles. You might get some Darius Slay, James Bradbury. They've been one of the best defensive backs in the NFL this year. So right on its face doesn't look great. But I'm going to give you a few stats. Since George Pickett got into the game, so he didn't start week 4, but he came in relief of since Kenny Pickett came in relief of Trubisky in week 4, George Pickens averaging 7 targets per game, averaging just over 5 catches in those games, 68 yards or more, nearly 12 points full PPR just on that. On its face, he scored his first touchdown last week, and he just looks like he's the talent is undeniable, and he's finally getting it. But here's the thing: game script. They're going to be playing from behind. We've already mentioned this Eagles game a couple times. I think the Eagles are going to get out to an early lead because that's what they do. They are leading the NFL in second quarter points. So you know that Pittsburgh's going to be playing from behind. He is clearing away the top target for Kenny Pickett. And if you're worried about matchups, the last time he had a tough defensive matchup was against the Bills. And guess what? He put up 16.3 PPR points in that game because they just kept passing to him. And I know the Bills don't have as strong as specifically secondary as the Eagles, but I still think there'll be enough volume for him to at least get 10 points here. I'm very confident in that. I'm starting him in multiple leagues. I'm probably going to play him in DFS. I haven't looked at his price, but I'm expecting his price to be cheap because of the matchup. So I like that, especially in a tournament play. So I got a couple other names I want to mention in general, but as far as seeing if I can beat the other guests, I'm going to ride with George Pickens.
And I love this call this week, Brian, especially because of the matchup in Philly, it's going to be a crazy environment. Like, let's just say that. Philly right now, I want to go nowhere close to that place because it is a party 24/7 with this Phillies run to the World Series. But I think the big thing in here is Darius Slay probably is going to shadow Deontay Johnson. So I think Kenny Pickett might be looking away. They're probably going to be trailing in this one. We could see 40-plus attempts from Kenny Pickett once again here. I like this call, Brian. Hopefully you can get this one right. I'd love to hear your other sleepers for us as well. Guys, keep bringing in the questions too. Once we get done with Sure Things and sleepers, Nate and I will jump back over to those. But Brian, please take it away with your other Sure Things as well.
So these are the other two. One is one that I was considering for my pick, and the other one is just a really deep sleeper that's like, hey, if you want something crazy, probably more of a DFS tournament play, but I want to throw that in. The first one is Donovan Peoples-Jones. So 87% owned on sleeper, only 33% started, averaging just under 7 targets per game over the last 4 weeks, 70 yards or more in 3 of the last 4 games. And here's the interesting part. The last 2 games, he's averaging 13.3 yards per target, which means they're throwing to him farther down the field. The Browns have been playing from behind. Amari Cooper is more of like the possession guy. He's going to get more volume, but I really like Donovan Peoples-Jones yet to score a touchdown. This year, we talk about game script. He's going to be playing from behind early on against the Bengals on Monday night. So he's shown to get the targets. He's shown to get targets down the field. He hasn't scored a touchdown yet. I just think this is one of those guys that even without the touchdown should be flirting with double-digit PPR points. If he does score, should go north of there. So that was the first one. I ultimately went with Pickens because I think Pickens is just a little bit safer of a play. And then finally, how about Philip Dorsett for like a deep sleeper here?
That's a deep cut.
You got Nico Collins, who is trending towards not playing. You got Brandon Cooks, who is going to play, but we mentioned earlier, it is very much the subject of trade rumors. Does Davis Mills and this Texans offense want to see what they have in Dorsett? Dorsett came in after Collins went out last week. Guess what? 3 catches and a touchdown. We know that he has talent. He's not a stud by any means, but I just like how this sets up once again. Game script. I think Houston will be playing from behind against a Titans team that has owned them, against Derrick Henry, who has owned their, I don't know if it's league worst, but it's got to be near the bottom run defense, so they're going to be playing from behind. I like Dorsett to have even more volume than he did last week. He's already shown to at least have some red zone attention from Davis Mills. 9% owned in sleeper, so this is like a deep sleeper. Like I said, unless you're in like a 16-team league, this is probably more of a DFS play, but I just wanted to throw it out there as just a fun little spicy play.
I like it. And we are big fans of Donovan Peoples-Jones over here. We've been highlighting for a couple weeks that he should be a guy. You should go out and roster him. So I really like that call, Brian. Nate, any thoughts on any of Brian's sleepers here?
I really like the Dorsett call because, like you said, he came in last week and got a tutty. So what's not to like about that? Yep. Davis Mills is searching for his identity in this offense. He's trying to figure out what this offense is with him at quarterback. It's been a little bit harder because Lovie Smith is more of a defensive-minded coach, even though it does not show in their defense whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I think Dorsett's a guy that he can get in there and get a touchdown this week. I don't see why not. I mean, they're going to be behind very early. So
yeah. All right. Well, I will round us out. I'm going to go back to the tight end carousel here. I'm going to go with Robert Tonyan of the Packers. And like you said, Brian, they're coming into this. They are dogs against the Buffalo Bills, which we expected maybe at the beginning of the season, but not by 10-plus points. And here we are, though. And the big thing here, Alan Lazard said to the media yesterday he is not expecting to play. So Aaron Rodgers needs to find some targets. And Robert Tonyan, guys, has been so reliable to him this season. Coming off 2 weeks ago, a franchise record 10 receptions. He's getting 2.3 yards of separation per target, meaning he's getting open. And Aaron Rodgers obviously loves that. His efficiency metrics just off the charts right now. When Rodgers targets this guy, he is benefiting. In the last 3 games that Tonyan has seen over a 50% snap share, he's averaging 11.6 PPR points. That's enough to get it done at this position. And I think they're going to be trailing the Bills, guys. The last 2 games against the Bills have quarterbacks have averaged 46 passing attempts. So I think they're going to have a big game out of the passing game if they want something to come out of this and not go 3 straight losses. And Buffalo's defense, guys, they are solid, but in the last couple games they have been a little susceptible to position. 20 receptions, 188 yards over the last 2. One of those games is to the Chiefs and Travis Kelce. However, the other one is to the Steelers when Zach Gentry was the guy, and he was kind of making his run at the Bills. So I think if you need a tight end play this week, if you have one of these guys on bye or if you're just kind of still out searching, Robert Tonyan Still available in about 50% of ESPN leagues. So pick him up, throw him in your lineups, and good luck to you, because it's not sexy playing the Packers. But I think if there's a guy I am playing in this Packers receiving core, it is Robert Tonyan, guys.
I want to throw one more data point on that because I love that play. All the talk Rodgers had, he goes on the Pat McAfee show every week.
Yep.
This week, it was specifically calling out who we think is the younger players about. They're not making their plays. We know I'm a huge Romeo Doubs fan, but he has not had the right connection. He's had some drops, no catches on 4 targets last week. We've already said Lazard's not going to play. Rodgers wants to come out and sling the ball, and he's going to throw to people he trusts. So I think this is a big Aaron Jones game, and I think this is a big Robert Tonyan game. I wouldn't be surprised if they both just get peppered with targets because Rodgers just doesn't want to deal with, even if Christian Watson plays, he's a rookie, right? I think this is a game where Rodgers just wants to throw to the people that he knows he can rely on. Lazard isn't in there, so it's going to be these 2 guys.
And he's going to have to get rid of the ball quickly against this Bills pass rush. And Robert Tonyan will be there as an outlet for that. Brian, we can't thank you enough for coming on, giving us your Sure Thing Sleepers of the Week. Nate and I are going to hang out for another 5-10 minutes, answer some of these final questions coming in. But please tell us one more time where we can find you for the rest of the 2020 football season and how we can best support you, our friend.
Yeah, I just want to mention again, guys, the whole reason we do what we do is our main thing is our daily NFL newsletter. So it's 5 minutes or less. We'll give you the top 6 stories of the day. We break it down. You don't have to read the huge articles over at ESPN or any of that. You can just get the stories of the day delivered to your inbox for free. We also do a roundup of injuries, so it's got some valuable fantasy or sports betting info in there. And you can always unsubscribe. So go to legitfootball.com, in your email address, sign up. We do this all year long, so you can get all the NFL news you need delivered right to your inbox. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's right there. If you're watching on YouTube, @_legitfootball. I put game picks up there against the spread, straight up. I live tweet a lot of the games, and we have a good time at the end of the day.
Awesome.
Yeah, guys, this is a great newsletter. I had it up for the show as we were going through Thursday Night Football because you have so much good data in there, and it's all right there. So, guys, whether you're an analyst, a fan, a player, whatever, go make sure you subscribe. It's a fantastic newsletter.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me, Seth.
Brian. Have a good weekend,
Thanks, Nate.
man. Keep the vibes flowing.
Thanks, Brian.
We appreciate Brian very much for hopping on the show today. Let's go ahead, Nate. Let's run through these rest of these questions. If you guys have a couple more for us, please let us know, and we'll get to those. Cameron B. back in the chat. Hey, guys, would you start Ayuk or Kareem Hunt as a flex play this week? Full PPR, Nate. Old full PPR back in it. Cameron, good to see you. I think we've seen you on the show before, if I'm not mistaken this. How do you feel about this one, Nate?
Man, I don't know. I like Kareem Hunt this week for pretty much no reason at all, but I'm also scared that they're going to trade him and then they're not going to use him on Monday night. So I'm going to go Ayuk here simply because the situation with Kareem Hunt's kind of up in the air.
And the Rams have been awful against covering the wide receiver too. So I think Ayuk could have a big game. He was one of my starts of the week a couple weeks ago against the Rams. It didn't really come to fruition there, but I think it could here. Kareem Hunt, it's like Nate said, I'm a little bit sketchy on what the situation is this week. He got the touchdown last week. He came through for fantasy managers, but outside of that, he's been pretty dreadful. Yeah. So I think if you want a floor play with a little bit of a ceiling, that's Brandon Ayuk. It's not sexy, Cameron. This isn't a sexy play, but he'll get the job done for you. We appreciate the question, man. Hope you come back and hang out with us again. Here we have Chaka. What's up, Chaka? Should I trade away Josh Jacobs, Cooper, Pickens for Adams, T. Higgins, and Hunt? PPR league here, Nate. So he'd be giving up Josh Jacobs, arguably one of the better running backs on the season. And then a couple of high-end wide receivers, but he's getting Devontae Adams, T. Higgins, Kareem Hunt here. This really comes down, I think, to team construction. Like, if you can trade away Josh Jacobs, you obviously have other good running backs. And we kind of highlighted earlier in the week, Nate, we don't mind trading high on Josh Jacobs, but you are still giving out a lot here. Can you stomach this one?
Yeah, I'm okay with it because mostly because you're getting T. Higgins back. But you're also getting Devontae Adams, and there isn't a whole lot else going on in that offense right now. Josh Jacobs has been good, but do we trust it to continue? We've seen spurts like this before, and then he just kind of fades away. So I'd make this deal.
Yeah, I think value-wise, you're probably getting the higher value side. You're going into a playoff if you have Devontae Adams and T. Higgins. That's a pretty scary combo in the postseason. Yeah, and Kareem Hunt, like, he's a lottery ticket at this point. He really is. Like, he could be on the Browns and he could just be Kareem Hunt for the rest of the season, or he could go to the Rams. Like, I really think the Rams are going to make a push. Maybe it's Antonio Gibson that we're hearing out a little bit today. Ron Rivera shut down those rumors earlier. Or maybe it is Kareem Hunt that goes out there to Los Angeles. So I don't mind that. I don't mind taking 2 wide receiver ones and the lottery ticket. But I think it is a very good question here from our guy Chaka. And we appreciate Chaka tuning in. We appreciate him subscribing to the channel. We got Cameron who's saying thanks. He liked and subbed to the channel. We appreciate that very much, man.
Yes, thank you.
Every subscriber goes a long way to help us continue to grow and build this brand here. Here we have a question from Tristan. What's up, Tristan? Hope you're having a great Feel Good Friday. Appreciate you making us a part of it. He's saying, what should I do with old Lenny Fournette? Hold or sell high? And I don't think like you're necessarily selling high right now on Leonard Fournette. Like I think people can if they look at just the points, his points have been there, but the overall stats have not been, Nate. If I can upgrade, I'll absolutely do it. But can I upgrade at this point, Nate? Like are there other running backs that you think you could package Fournette to get up to, like a Kenneth Walker, a JT, someone else we've kind of talked about?
I think all of this stuff always depends on who is in your league, because you have to know what other managers think of these players. And everything isn't just across the board, which is why we talk about this. If you can upgrade from Leonard Fournette, which is going to be just about any RB1 or RB2, this Tampa Bay offensive line is bad and only getting worse. The most telling play about this Tampa Bay team last night was when the entire offense started moving and the center was still standing still on a 4th and goal. They're out of sync. So if you can move off of Leonard Fournette, I mean, they're averaging 67 rushing yards a game. That was before last night. Yeah.
And we are seeing Rachaad White get way more involved than I'm comfortable with as well. So I completely understand that. Like if you can get up to a JT, a Kenneth Walker, Dalvin Cook, even Chubalicious,
Dameon Pierce.
Yeah.
I know, but Dameon Pierce his ceiling is higher. He is an upgrade.
Yep.
You don't have to like it.
No, you are right, Nate. You're 100% right. So yeah, if you can do that, I would absolutely consider that, Tristan. We appreciate the question though. Good luck to you the rest of the week, man. Thank you so much for making us a part of your Friday here. And he said, and then we have Cameron back in the chat. I'd be set with Hunt in LA. I'd have CMC, Saquon, and Hunt in my lineup in my 16-team leagues with no buys rest of season.
Wow.
Okay.
Well done, sir.
Yeah, I love that. Tristan, cheers to you as well, our friend. Hope you subscribe to the channel. Come back and hang out with us. Nate, this has been an absolute blast today, having Dave on the show. Such an active chat with old faces, new faces, kind of all coming together here, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we have 9 weeks left, and it's not enough. 10 weeks left. Like, it is not enough because we're having such a blast with all the feel-good vibes we're bringing over here, Nate.
Could we get a 30-week NFL season at some point while we're still doing this? Doesn't sound awful, right? I mean, it sounds awful for the players.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just need another relevant league. Can we just have a second relevant league?
Hey, man, yeah, that's why we have the NASCAR season starting in February. We got NASCAR content over here. We got PGA content, as well as our feel-good lifestyle advice, guys. So follow us all season long. Subscribe to the channel. Check out the website. We got columns coming your way. Content between here and the website 7 days a week right now. We're staying busy, Nate, but we love it over here.
We do, guys. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. This has been a great show. We love answering your questions. It's my favorite part of the week, Seth. This is my favorite part of the week. Now we're heading into Halloween weekend, guys. Just be safe. Have fun.
Yes.
Don't bob for apples. It's gross.
Yeah. Have fun. Be safe. If you guys have any questions we haven't got to yet, please just put those in the comment of the show, and Nate and I will work on those over the weekend. I want to be courteous of his time and everyone else's time today as well. But thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Good luck here in Week 8. Nate and I will talk to you on Tuesday. Until then, guys, keep it in between. Your destination for both some feel-good lifestyle advice and some fantasy football advice